Welcome back to another edition of Triathlon Training Explained, powered by TrainingPeaks. Now, when you're thinking about how to run, it's all too easy to focus on our feet and everything that happens from the hips below. But in actual fact, proper running form or perfect technique actually starts up here with our head, works all the way down through our body and finishes with our feet. So in today's video, I'm going to explore the mechanics of perfect running form and break it down for you in a simple and understandable fashion. So one of the fundamental things to understand about running is that we want to do this in as energy efficient a manner as possible. Now, by running in as efficient a manner as possible, we're more likely to not tire as easily. We'll also hopefully be able to run for as far and as long as we would like to, but crucially, we'll be hopefully doing that injury-free as well. So, starting at the top of that skeletal chain like I just discussed, if our head and shoulders are aligned properly, that's going to set the tone for our torso and lower body to follow, and more likely mean that our stride will be correct. So, starting off with the top, let's work our way down. Proper head alignment is key to good running form. You want to be looking towards the horizon, but neither up nor down, and this will bring your neck and back into alignment and straighten them up. Your neck and jaw should be nice and relaxed, and also try and think about not jutting your chin forwards either. Our shoulders should sit square and low whilst also being loose and relaxed at the same time. Try not to sway from side to side whilst you're running, and definitely no slouching allowed either. Try and also be mindful of not allowing your shoulders to creep up and become high and tight whilst we're running. And if you do feel any tension starting to creep in, just try and loosen your arms out a little bit, give them a bit of a shake and release that tension that's building up. Now that we've got our head and shoulders aligned correctly, our torso is able to follow suit and be in a good position, meaning that we're running nice and tall and ever so slightly leaning forward, which creates a nice balanced posture. We don't want to be leaning too far back, but equally we don't want to be hunching forwards either. If we start leaning forwards, then we can create a kind of high impact, short staccato stride that puts a lot of pressure through our knees and our back. If we lean backwards similarly, then we're starting to create an overstriding effect that can put a lot of pressure through our heels and stresses up our joints like our knees and hips. Tall, however, with a nice upright position will open up our chest and pin our shoulders back, which means that we can just breathe that little bit easier. But one other thing to be mindful of is try not and sway your torso too much from side to side. Good arm carriage and movement matters a lot whilst we're running, as it effectively helps to propel us forwards. If you try and think of the zipper that runs down a jacket as being the center line in our torsos, if our hands were to cross that center line, usually what happens is our upper bodies and torsos follow suit. And this torque that's created from the waist up is just simply wasted energy. There are basically 2 pointers to bear in mind when thinking about arm carriage, and that is on the upward swing, try and bring your arms in and towards your sternum. And on the downward swing, we want to bring them out and away towards our waistband. Now, keeping that same train of thought of nice smooth arm carriage, we should always try and have our hands and wrists in a nice relaxed fashion, ideally in an unclenched fist, and just try and think about your hands with your fingers lightly touching the palms of your hands and always trying not to have any tension in there. Now, I won't pretend here, the positioning of our hips isn't necessarily the easiest thing to wrap our heads around. But in simple terms, we want to think of our hips pointing straight forwards and in what we call a neutral position. Now, if our head, shoulders and torsos are all aligned similarly, then our hips in theory should follow suit and be positioned correctly. However, if for instance our torso is leaning too far forwards or too far backwards, then this can tilt our pelvis out of position and that'll throw our body out of alignment. Now, endurance running doesn't require our knees to be lifted too high, but rather kept fairly low to promote an energy efficient stride. But there are a few key points to bear in mind. Firstly, that our knees do need to be bent a little bit just to absorb the impact as our foot hits the ground. Secondly, you don't want to overstride, but rather thinking about having our foot landing underneath our body and our center of gravity. And finally, running isn't supposed to be hard and noisy as we travel over the ground. Rather, try and think about being light and springy and quiet. So there we have it. Good running form starts at our head, runs all the way down the bodily chain and finishes down there at our feet. Hopefully you find this video interesting and you'll give it the thumb up like button. Remembering to click on the globe, subscribe and get all the other videos on GTN. And if you want to see all the other videos that have happened in Run Week, then click up here.